Hello, friend. How are
I'm
you?
good, Maddie. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I can't wait to dig into Love is Blind.
Okay.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Reality Roundup. I'm Maddie. That's Mariama. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, repost, I don't know, all of the things to help a struggling Black podcast.
Up and coming.
Up and coming Black people podcast.
True, true, true.
Yes, yes.
Today, like Maddie said, we are going to be talking about Love is Blind, but we'll just be covering episodes 1 through 3, and then we'll try to get an episode out later, well, prior to the airing of the next batch of episodes covering episodes 4 through 6. Thoughts on episodes 1, 2, 3, or what do you think about the show so far?
Oh my God, these people are boring. I'm
They are
sorry.
kind of boring.
And I don't know if they're boring. I mean, obviously we're only up till obviously the end of episode three,
hmm
but I just find these people to be boring, but I can't tell if they're boring because they're just normal and we don't have any wackadoodles this season. That's so rude. Oh my God. We don't we don't have any antagonists this season.
Yeah, you
Well,
don't think
except for
so?
the we have
Okay,
one
okay.
intent. Oh my God. And we will talk about who I'm assuming we're on the same page because we haven't
I
talked about
who
those
are you
already.
talking about?
Leo.
Leo. Okay.
Oh, that
Well,
I am. Go ahead.
no, 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 no. I'm bored right now, but I'm always bored at this part. Like
Sure, that's true.
like I don't like the pods. I, I have actually,
Mariama watches Love is Blind in the most craziest way possible,
yeah,
I
I skip the
think.
pods. I skip around during the pods. Like I'll pick like a few people that I like. It's usually like the
Sanity.
women because I can probably relate to the women more. And then I'm like, oh, I like her. Like she seems fun. So I'll watch all of her conversations or whatever. Or I'll pick a couple that I really like and I'll watch their conversations. But like I'll skip
Wild.
everybody else and I'll just catch them at the honeymoon and then start.
The fact that you are editing the editing is crazy to me. You were like,
It's
all of
the
this
most.
footage, they've already shrunk it down. I need even less.
Yeah, it's the most boring part. One, and we'll talk about it a little bit later because I've some of the reasons why I skipped the pod portion. Like I've already seen it with a few of the couples and a few of the men. I just don't. I don't think it's right. I think everyone knows they're on reality television. Everyone knows they're supposed to like not care about looks, quote unquote, and they're doing their
Mhm.
best acting performances. You never really know how these couples are going to shake out until they meet each other, and then
Yeah,
attraction is factored in. Quirks and personality, like in the day to day, like of life, right? Or the compatibility or
absolutely.
discompatibility of their lives are factored into the relationship. Right now, this is all make believe, and I just really don't care about like being in their delusions
Oh
about like
my
the
gosh,
sort
that's
of
where
people
we
that they think they are.
split. I love being in the delusions. It's one of my favorite. So my favorite part, surprise, surprise to nobody, is the reveal. Like that is my favorite part because it either goes really well or awful.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
and
care
it
about
just,
that either. Like
oh
only
my
if I like the
gosh, that's
couple
my
do I
favorite
like
part.
really am I like really paying attention to the reveal. It's like one of those
I
things like
love the
I'll
reveal.
watch it to see how they react to each other. Wait for the guy to get down on the knee and then I'll probably like skip the small talk that they do
Wow.
afterward.
Wow. See,
Unless
this
they
is
have
I
like really crazy chemistry or something like off the bat. Like other than that I just really don't care.
Ugh, Lauren and Cameron.
hmm
I just okay. So, am I leading this conversation?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So we're gonna go episode by episode because that's how my brain works.
Okay, sure.
And the
So
very
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember like the events of each episode like in that sort of
no, that's
way. What
fine.
I really just remember is the like I don't remember much of episode 1 at all to be honest, but like I do remember like the couple. So well I'll
Yeah.
try to like, you
I
know.
remember being bored almost instantaneously.
Say.
But the very first thing that I wrote, and I don't feel this way now that we've like honed in on certain people, but my very first thing was these men are ugly. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I that was my first thought in the very first
Yeah.
episode when like Nick Lachey and Vanessa come out, and I was like, ugh, because like to
I okay. It's
yes,
like I didn't have a reaction to the men, so indifference is probably like what I would use, which also just probably means none of them were quite that fine. There was what? Oh my God! So there was one
say it.
man and it's not uh, so there was a brief moment in episode 1 where Leo is talking about his Rolex to
Yeah.
the group of men, and there's a flash to like this biracial man with red hair. And I was like, "Who is this brother?" He looked kind of cute, but he had the dumbest look on his face, and he was just like
Oh.
hanging like mouth open. I was like, "Who is him?" He looked kind of cute,
Do
little.
we know who that is?
Yeah, you know who that is? That was Steven. So
Let's
later,
get into it immediately. This is why I said the episode thing
so
is not even gonna
later
matter.
on when he was talking, I was like, oh, well, maybe he was just raised by like his white parent, like socialized. He was like, I've always considered myself a white person, and I was shocked that he thought he was white. And so when he started talking about being black, I was like, there's no way I just clocked this like off GP. Like it's so
I
funny.
literally, where did I write that? I wrote, um,
I'm like, sir, you look like
I
Blake
wrote Steven
Griffin.
is
Like,
black is taking me out in episode 2 when he was
you
talking about all that.
You know what's so like we're gonna get to it, but you know what was so funny when he was talking? He was like, "Oh yeah, I was like a Trump supporter, and then I voted for Biden." I was like, "Oh, did you?" I was like, "I wonder when he found out he was black." He was probably
Upon
voting.
retrospect, that's exactly it.
He was
That's
he was
exactly
like
it.
voting for Trump, and then he looked back. He was like, "Oh, he's talking about me."
Steven being biracial or oh my god, I was about to use an old timey slur. Um, I am my mother's daughter. I was about to say something completely out of pocket racially, but I just, for all of those of you who are listening and maybe not watching this somehow,
Oh my
we're black. I just want to be abundantly clear. And before, don't come for us. Steven coming out as multiracial was so funny. It was literally so funny. I was like, not Steven being black.
He said, "My grandmother always told us we were Italian." I was like, "I bet she did."
I bet she did. I bet she did. Why is it the same lie every time? It's always the same. You're just a little bit Italian. You're just a little bit Mediterranean. Yes, very Mediterranean, very south
You
of the
know,
Mediterranean,
yeah,
if you
your
will.
grandfather tanned easily. Yeah, I bet he did. I'm like,
I,
sir, have you not seen yourself? And you know what?
that's
Like,
so
what
funny.
the only thing that really did it for me.
But finding a red bone in DC because they're in DC is very easy. So
Oh, hold on, real quick.
that was
The funniest part of
I
it
just
for
stirred my
me,
brain.
the funniest part of it for me is that like I saw like a pretty like, oh, I'm crying. Like just a small glimpse of him, and all I really saw was like his beard and his hair, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, like biracial man. He started talking about being white. I was like, oh, did I mess up? Like,
No, and my thing is that I was not paying attention to Stephen before that moment
oh
where he
shoot.
was like something Italian. I was like, oh no, like it literally like my brain slowed down. I was like, oh no, I know exactly where this is going. And then and then I think it was Monica who was like, I think was it Monica?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
Stephen and
yeah.
Monica?
Yep.
Yes, who was like, I know where this is going to, and I was like, girl, and he was like Nigerian, and I was like, oh Lord
Bro,
Jesus,
0.3%, like broadly European, not even 0.3%.
that
That
number
was a crazy
frightens
lie.
me.
Like the fact that this man is like this man is entirely black.
It is just
When I was,
black.
bro, when he was like talking, I was like, okay, like maybe like the grandmother is like white, but like maybe there was like a cheating scandal, like maybe there's like questions to
No.
somebody's paternity down the line. I thought like, okay, maybe he's 30%, 40% black at most,
Hello?
but like it's enough that like we can recognize our people. When he started like naming his like people that his shared DNA, and it
I
was
was
like,
confused
I was
because
like,
I'm clocking in about 30% European over here right
he
now.
said he was like, yeah, it turns out my dad is like 3/4 or like 50% black. I was like, oh, it's probably more like 3/4 with those type of numbers. Like,
Like, hello? Like, he's putting up untold black people numbers.
for
Like,
real.
again, I'm
Like,
like 30% European.
I don't know where his like father is from, like other than like the other ancestry, but just to note that the average black American is only like 75-60% like African ancestry anyway. So like the average like black American is already like kind of diluted if we can use terms like that. So when you think about like a biracial person with a black parent, like you're
Yes.
really talking about like 30%, 40% black, and most of the time they still be looking phenotypically very like African, very black with African
Zendaya,
features, darker
Meghan
skin,
Markle.
curly hair, like etc.
Hmm.
So this man is just
The
he
idea that this man is blacker than me is crazy.
this might be the blackest man in America.
I literally was like, excuse me with
This is
my
so funny.
one whole African parent, and you are more black than me. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
You gotta love the DMV.
Oh my gosh, that's
Those
hilarious.
Negroes. Those fantastical,
I don't know how many
fantastical black
I don't
people.
know how many minutes we done on this. We gotta move on.
Okay. So my other important things, I very weirdly important to me, but I love the new confessional background. Like,
Yeah, I like it.
it's so cute. It's
Yeah.
not giving like unsolved mystery anymore. And that's actually really important to me. Every black woman who goes on the show with either a wig or a weave with with a leave out, I think is so brave, especially after what happened to Diamond in the first season. I I would be in the
Crazy.
chair getting my boho knotless braids done. Actually, not even
Well,
knotless,
here's my thing.
knotted braids the day before.
Once
You're not
they're back,
clowning me.
here's the thing. Once they're back from the honeymoon, I always be wondering what's stopping you from just changing your hairstyle.
What do you mean?
Like I don't want to say names, but we've seen some of our sisters go the whole season with a wig
With
that
this,
ain't working for them, with leave
I
out that's not behaving. But you're back home and you're in your city. Like once you come back from the honeymoon and you have 4 weeks to prepare for a wedding, like why
go
are
get
you
your
take
hair done.
why are you taking that sewing all the way to the altar? You don't have to do that.
I wonder, do you think it's for continuity reasons?
It could. Why would it be though? Like, why would you like? Why would it be though? It's a wedding. Like, it's just part of wedding prep at that point. If you do it like the week before, or like maybe change your change your change your weave, and then style the new weave, the new weave, on your
Okay, gotcha.
wedding day.
The
Why
way
would that be
I just
though?
want to say that you had a little bit of a Dr. Umar tone when you said weave. It just you had a little taste of a Dr. Umar in your voice.
No, no. Well, I am a reformed hotep, so
You are. Okay, no, I was gonna reveal too much about our personal lives on the pod. Anyway, so honestly, I said episode by episode. I will say in terms of couples episode one, Tyler and Ashley A, so cute.
you like
Um,
them?
I
I don't think it's gonna work. Oh, this ain't the predictions part. My bad.
I liked Tyler and Ashley A. Um, and then I just like thought Taylor was so cute. I
Oh
also
no, no, sorry. I thought that was Tim. Tim and Alex's Tim giving me hella red flag. Tyler, I do like. Tyler looks
Tim's giving you
yes. Tyler. We'll get there, but
hella
Tyler
red. Okay.
looks exactly like a like a camp counselor that I used to have when I was in high school. Like just like him, down to the freckles. He was like this biracial black man with the same exact haircut, same beard, like freckles. Like he was a football player. Like so, he was like in college at the time.
Hmm.
He was like a football player, so he had like that stocky like build, and he had like reddish, like brownish hair as
Hmm.
well too. He looks just like him. Like I was looking at him, I was like, I've seen that face a lot. I know a lot of people that look like that. But two, I was like, dang, he looks exactly like that man. Like that man
Oh my
also
gosh.
started dating one of the female counselors that he met there, and then they're married. They have like 4 kids or something now.
Oh,
Like
that's
like
actually
I'm
really
friends with them on Facebook,
cute.
so
That's actually really, really cute. I love that
and
for
they're
you.
both very religious Christian too. So
It's also that. For some reason I liked the fact that we have two black Ashleys. I was like, that's actually really cute. I'm really a fan of that. Um, and okay, this is when I start to develop my absolute hatred for Leo. in the first episode. I will say, when Leo was describing in episode one what happened to his family, I was like, did somebody put a hex on? Because this is insane what he
That's
was
a
saying.
crazy statement to make. My sister's like.
Oh yeah, you could probably take that out. But you're probably going to take that out. But I just think it's
I'm gonna
important.
leave it
Like
in, but I was just saying that's crazy.
I cannot, and we could roll. Um, Oh no! And then I said all this with Hannah and Nick D in the first episode. Like they seem to have like like too much drama. We'll get to Hannah, but rolling straight into episode two. Stephen and Monica are really cute to me. I was annoyed originally by Hannah listening to the Peanut Gallery about Nick D. Um, I think Hannah's conclusion in episode three that like Nick is just kind of a pretty actually very normal and was just kind of like putting on like a smooth guy front and is probably just a normal
Yeah,
man,
yeah, that's a
I
good point.
think is correct. Um, but my God, like the way that like Nick D and Hannah were like instantaneously dramatic, I was like, okay, you're doing a lot with this edit right now because this is like doing too much. They have literally just met each other. Um, Bodhi, my Filipino king, I love him so much.
See, this is why we can't do episode one because I only remembered the people that actually went somewhere.
But
Oh,
Bodhi,
you're talking about Bo Down. Okay, I was
yes,
like,
because Marissa calls him Bodhi.
okay, Filipino King
Yes.
is crazy because that man's not Filipino at all.
No, but he said he was raised by
Yeah, but what
his
that got to do with? I think there are other
maybe.
Filipino kings that might deserve that
That
title
might
a
be,
lot,
that's
lot more.
fair. That's fair. That's completely fair. Um,
Ukrainian prince.
you Prince is also crazy. Ramsey's hair annoys me.
Me too. I wish he would
I'm
choose
sorry.
one or the other. Actually, Ramsey's the only note that I wrote about him is looks can be deceiving, and it's just because when I like saw him in the first episode, I was immediately like, "Fuck boy, like what are you doing here? You're about to ruin some poor girl's life. Go home, like leave my
This is
sisters alone." But
I'm
he's
gonna say
like,
something problematic. Go ahead, go ahead.
he seemed like one of the more like genuine men of like the main men that are currently like going far as far as like making a connection.
Yes.
He seems like really steady and like down to earth in a way that I didn't expect him to be. I expected him to be a lot more like overconfident and maybe like douchey.
Absolutely. Like that was my first impression of him too. It's not, I won't say that that impression has gone 100% away.
Mhm.
Um, because I'm always really, really skeptical of super leftist men that tout how leftist they are.
Mhm.
Like it always just like gives me, and it took me a long time personally to figure out what bothers me about this. And I think that the right wing people call it virtue signaling.
It's the
Um,
performance, yeah.
yeah, the performance to me is almost like more insidious than if you just stood on business about what you actually believe in. I've
Yeah.
always been of the opinion that I would much rather somebody just be honest about who they are, even if I hate who you are, than be tricked in any sort of way. So I'm kind of like, about Ramsey, but like not too terrible. Um, I wrote Senegal in the house for episode two. Why did I write? Oh, when was it Tim talking about his time in?
Yeah, in Senegal,
Yeah.
in the
And I wrote,
Navy.
yes, I wrote Senegal in the house. I had to keep reminding myself that this episode or this season takes place in Washington, D.C. because I was like, why do we have such an overabundance of military people?
Mhm. And all of like and everybody like yeah, everybody has real like DC jobs.
Yes.
It's
Digital
like
marketing,
yeah,
physicists,
tech
like,
skills,
yes,
policy maker, like all
all
art
of these
dealer
things.
even.
Art. Oh,
This is why I really do want to talk like couple by couple because I just feel
okay.
like
You take over. You take over.
okay, so like I think we should talk well, maybe we should save them for last. I wanted to do the big square first. I think we should talk Tim and Alex because we haven't said much about them. I didn't
Okay.
write much about them because I really don't think they're gonna make it. Like I'm getting tons of red flags from Tim. Not tons, but I'm getting a few red flags from Tim. Let
We just
me.
saw the reveal of Tim and Alex, didn't we? At the end of episode three.
Did we see Tim and Alex? That was Tyler and Ashley.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Who is Alex? Alex is another black woman.
Yep. And
We
she's
have
talking to
two.
Tim.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah, we have two black couples.
Tim?
So Tim is the web content strategist. He's the one who lost both of his sisters, and
Yes.
he was like, he says that thing at
You're
one point
right.
about I'm gonna give my parents another daughter or something like that. And
Okay, yeah.
then
So we just saw Tyler and Ash.
yes,
So then
and
I'm even more confused that you don't think Tim and Alex are gonna make it.
well, so Tim said a few things that again are just red flags. Red flags don't necessarily mean you should write people off. They just mean you should be like aware.
Absolutely.
He talked about having a lion tattoo on him.
Oh,
That's a
I that was a red flag for me.
That's
That
a
was
red flag.
absolutely
He talked about buying a shirt. It's the shirt he's literally wearing in his like media day picture that's on
the yellow
the
one.
yeah, he's like I bought this shirt
Hmm.
cuz my ex-girlfriend told me he hated it. Red flag right there.
Yes.
He's a man that has spoken a lot about like what he's imagined like family to be. That's also kind of like a red flag, right? Because it sort of seems like he's just kind of looking for somebody to plug and play, and he's not really.
Mm.
I also just think like,
Plug and
and
play is a perfect phrase for that. Can I have that?
yeah, it's yours.
Okay. Because I think about, not to reveal too much about myself on the pod, but like
we
I always, when I am like on dating apps and stuff like that, I'm always so like my back gets up anytime somebody says I'm looking for a wife, I'm looking for a girlfriend, I'm looking for my best friend. I'm like, you just want a person to fill the role that you've already decided that they should
yeah.
fill.
And
Plug and
it
play is
sort of seemed
perfect.
like the way that he was talking about it. I don't like. I didn't see, and this is why I think the pods are just like like not as important. Like how often do like things go so great in the pods, and then those people get out there and it just kind of falls apart immediately from day one.
Mhm.
Like more times than not, I would actually say more often than not.
I think
Um,
so. Yes.
so yeah, they only had like
Statistically.
9 couples in the whole show. And never mind, don't no, that's not even like let's not even talk about that. But
Yes.
he just gave me like red flags. I also think the nature of his conversations with Ashley, I didn't really see anything that like they're gonna bond over outside of here. It sort of seemed I hate to say this, but it sort of seemed like he we might cut this out. He kind of used the tragedies like from his life, and I don't think it was like malicious intent, but he sort of like used the tragedies from his life to like avoid connecting and getting to know her and like sharing about himself
Mm,
emotionally and what he'd
mm.
want from a relationship. He spoke a lot about like his parents' marriage and the perfect family that he had growing up and the photos and kind of trying to recreate that. I don't think he's probably ready to go through this and like seriously date someone. I also just don't think she
Mm.
knows enough about him to make an informed decision about choosing to marry him. And I think they are going to get engaged. And I think when they do, and they leave the pod, she's going to quickly realize that she doesn't know this man. And then the conflict
Okay.
of their relationship is going to be them trying to like hash out and negotiate, whatever.
Like oh my gosh.
But I did
Mark
write. Go. Oh,
Marshall, do you remember Marshall?
I
I
didn't
don't know
watch
if you
that
watch this,
season.
but for
But I
those
do
of
remember him. I do remember him,
it'll
like
be
from
like
what I
Marshall and
saw
them.
on the internet.
Yes, I feel like what you're saying is what happened with Marshall and God bless me, I don't remember her name. That they like worked really well in the pods. And then the negotiation outside was like, how do I connect you with who I thought you to
Yeah,
be? And it obviously those of us who watch
I
that
th-
season
I
know
think
that it doesn't
it's
work
easy
out.
to like convince
Gross.
yourself that you care about someone when they share about themselves what Tim shared, and you're like, dang, that's so tragic. Like, oh my god, like I hope you're good.
It's the
Oh, this
actual
person,
trauma
yeah,
dumping.
this person's
The
like
real
really
term.
open. This person like really opened up. I feel like I really know them. And then you get outside and you realize he don't clip his toenails as often as you need him to, and you're like, oh no, this is not gonna work.
Yes,
But what
it's
I
the
did
real
write
definition of trauma dumping.
but I like really, and maybe I missed it, but I didn't see a lot about Alex. I don't know much about Alex. Oh my god, my tongue is green from the diet, dude. I just got a glimpse of it. I didn't see much about Alex,
Mhm.
but I did see that ass though. Alex is dragging like Alex. Alex is holding something back there. When I
Okay,
said,
Queen,
I
we love
said,
to see it.
that's all I wrote. She got a wagon on her. Um,
That's the second thing I wrote for the whole entire thing. I said the women are perfect,
Oh my God,
as they
her
always are.
her her booty is perfect, but let's get off of it. Yeah.
And a side note in episode two, because I know we're gonna go back around to Steven and Monica. I think it was somebody called somebody a mutt, and it like
He called her my
it
I want to
skeeved
discuss
me.
this because I waited a while to watch the episodes and I've only watched the first three, so I've been avoiding everything on social media. The one
Mhm.
thing that I have seen of people talking about the show is, well, black people are some black women are upset that he called her a mutt and that she so quickly agreed. I I've heard the word mutt a lot in reference to like biracial and mixed people.
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
always only heard it come from that biracial person in reference to themselves. I've even heard like white people use it when they're like noting all of the different types of white that they got going on. They'd be like,
Yes.
I'm Polish and German and Swedish and Norwegian, and I'm basically a mutt. And I've never heard it as an offensive term. Like the first time I heard it, I was probably in the sixth grade, and it was like a biracial classmate of mine, and she was talking about her white mother who was like had all of these
Mm.
different European ancestries, and her black father who also has some Native American ancestry. And she was like, I'm basically a mutt. And I was like, what is that? I had to go home and look it up. And I was like, oh, okay, I get what you're trying to say. Um,
I think it's fine. I mean, to me, I think it's fine in reference to yourself, but I mean, that's basically what I feel about all words like that. What scared me was not that she agreed, it was that he used it to her. I was
yeah,
just
like
like, ooh, I don't like
I didn't
that.
even clock that until somebody said it, and I was like, oh, okay, like I see
Especially
how
for
I
a
did
man
make
who
somebody.
most recently found out that he is not white. I was like, I just don't,
You know what? We're gonna
I didn't
get there,
like
but
it.
when he was talking about like I was a Trump supporter and I forgot what else he said, I was like, so never mind.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well,
Um.
it's funny that you called me out about Tim and hold on, I'm gonna find it. Tim and Alex versus Tyler and Ashley,
Mhm.
because I did write at the end of episode two in my own notes, not me confusing the two black couples, because I was like, oh my gosh.
I
Wait, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I remember. Okay, so it was Ashley W, and I don't think we saw much of her afterward. Ashley A is the one that's with Tyler. She's
Yes,
beautiful too.
yes.
Yeah, she's beautiful. So, do you want to talk about them next?
Yes, because we saw their reveal at the end.
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna go to Garrett and Taylor next because they are the first.
oh yeah, let's go to Garrett Taylor next.
So, like you were saying when they were talking to the men that you didn't think any of them were good looking. When Nick and Vanessa were talking to the women, I was like,
Hmm.
Taylor is so beautiful. Like
She's so beautiful.
she's so striking. And then when she is talking to Garrett in that first episode, and she talks about like studying chemistry and playing basketball, I'm like, oh, she thinks she me. Like she how you
Oh
got
my
all
God, wait a minute. Yes, she is
she
you.
thinks she me. Like, wait a minute now. And like, oh my
Wow.
god, I love Taylor. She's my fave so far. She's my
I
fave so
love
far.
Taylor.
I don't know about her relationship, but she is my favorite so far. And even like her style, like the way she was dressing, like that outfit that she wore that was like the khaki like bell bottom like thing with like the black shirt and like the
Ooh,
white chucks. I'm like, that's so me. Like I would put that on. But
you would put that on.
she was putting it on all
There was like
throughout
a
all three
three-piece
episodes.
set that she was wearing at some
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
That is something I would wear. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is
Even like I think when
beautiful.
she got engaged, wasn't she wearing like green and black? Green's my favorite color, so
Yeah.
like I have a lot of green in my
Oh my God, I
closet.
forgot we've already seen their reveal. Yeah.
Yeah, like she was, and what I thought was like really endearing about her, like, well, their first conversation was so cute. I was just like chuckling because they, because they were connected on such a like a niche topic. They're talking
Yeah.
about the height.
The Heisenberg? Yeah.
It was so cute. Um, I don't know. Well,
I just
I had some like doubts about Garrett, but like he sort of grew on me a little bit. There's that point when he's like asking her to be his girlfriend or whatever, and she's like, "You're gonna have to earn it" or something like that. And they're both wearing white chucks, and they can't even see each other, and they never mention it, so they don't know that they're like
oh,
matching.
wait, that's so cute.
They don't even know that they're matching the whole time. But I was just like sitting there. I loved her every time she came on,
I loved her.
except for that one conversation where they had where she like didn't want to reveal her mother's name. I like because I think like she brought up the conversation and started talking about her mom, and then she was like, and she like you can tell an anecdote about your mom, but if you don't want to talk about your mom's name, like don't mention that everybody calls your mom by her first name, or like you play a little cooler. If he goes, hey, what's your mom's name, and you go, Mrs. Kraus, don't you worry about that. Like you could just say something like that and
Yeah, I
move
think
on.
she kind of backed herself into a little bit of a corner and then
Yeah,
had to
because then
like get her way
it
out.
became like a really weird thing. And when she was like, but I know why she did it because she's hot as hell. She was like, of course you're gonna like me when you see me. Like
Yeah.
she was awesome. She's 5'9". I wish I was 5'9".
She, I really
She's
like
a
them
role
and I
model. She's
think
a role model for me.
they
She's
remind
a
me
clean
of
energy policy consultant. That's awesome.
they remind me a little bit energy wise of or my energy toward them, I should say, of oh my gosh, that couple last season whose only problem was the birth control. And
Yes, yes,
then
yes. Amy and
yes,
then you done made me
Johnny.
forget his name, Johnny.
Johnny, Amy and Johnny, because they just like seem like really normal. Like there isn't really anything like minus the conversation. And then when she
Yes.
revealed her mom's name, I was like, okay, I understand like why
Fong from
you
Hong
want.
Kong.
Yes, I was like, that's fair. That's completely fair. I they just seem like really normal.
Yeah.
Like they don't really seem like anything. Well, of course, we've
Well, I
had
will
really normal
say,
before,
so
but
the only reason I'm like kind of like, I think the reveal was like a little like awkward. It may have just been like because, but like
ooh,
he seemed initially like very, very excited. Like I will say that he seemed very, very giddy. He was like nervous, and I thought that was like a really good sign. She seemed very, sorry, excuse me. She seemed very like awkward and maybe a little guarded. And it seemed like they were just like touching up
yeah.
on each other just to be like doing something. Like I think like I think they like she either of them may have had an idea of what it was supposed to look like, and
Hmm.
then like it was like, oh, like you are a stranger, like I don't really know you, I might not be like super
Yeah.
comfortable like getting to the nitty gritty. So they just started like they just be like awkward silence and then like start kissing on each other, and I was like, oh, this not.
She does seem they did seem a little bit awkward, but again, they just like I don't know, compared with everybody else, they just seem like super normal. I will say when she was reading to him what she wrote and he
Yeah,
said, "Doing great, babe." I was like,
yeah.
I'm but a simple girl. So I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, Garrett, okay. Like that's like that like made me very happy. Um,
I'm excited for
oh
them.
and-
If
yeah.
they aren't, oh, I didn't realize. Hold on. If they aren't like if they don't have like a smooth ride, I'm gonna be really upset because I really
They
enjoyed
also
them
remind
too.
me of you. I don't think you watched this season. I call them my Jewish cowboy family. Um, Alexa and whatever that man's name is, they just had a baby. Um, which also a side note, my sister and I talk about this all the time. It's crazy that there are human children that exist because of the show
How
now.
many? Just one, right? Two.
No, two, I
Yeah.
think, because Blair and Zach, or
Mhm.
Bliss and Zach,
Mhm.
and
The
my Jewish
ones you
cowboy
just named.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like there are children that exist because of this show now. That's why. I mean, it's not like the first in American TV culture because like there are couples from The Bachelor that are
Yeah.
legitimately married and
Rob and
happy.
Amber from Survivor. I think they have 3 daughters, maybe 4.
That's just it's. I
They've
mean,
also been married for like 20 years too, and and that's not even
yeah.
a dating show. So that's
That is like so like I think it's beautiful and I think it really speaks to the idea that like you really don't know how you if you are a person who wants a person, you really don't know how you're going to meet them. Like doing essentially truly being yourself in the world might mean that you do that. Like I think one day I went through the Bachelor couples. I don't watch the Bachelor, but I just wanted to see if any of them were still married and like there are like couples that are just like
Married at First
happy.
Sight too. Married at First Sight does couples cam, which I never watch, but they're well, they have way more kids from that show. But there are several
Hmm.
couples that are like still together, and I think a good number of them. Like the ones that come to my mind are like Woody and Imani, Deanna, and oh, I would have known this at a certain point. I forgot. Deanna and her husband, the OGs, the one girl that ran off at the altar, and then God, why can't I remember any of their names? If I was watching a season of Married at First Sight, I would be remembering their
It would
names.
be. I love not to be too sappy, but I just kind of really love when things like that actually actually work out. Again, big ups to Lauren and Cameron.
Mhm.
They don't have any kids, but the fact that Lauren and Cameron have been married for like 5 going on 6 years now is
Well, Amber and Barnett
insane.
are still together. I think they have like,
I always feel so bad because I always forget about Amber and Barnett also being
yeah,
from that
yeah,
season.
like, and I think they have like the same wedding anniversary or close by. They're like probably only a
Yes,
few
I
days
always
apart.
forget about Amber and Barnett. Um, can we, okay, so we have a at the end of by the end of season or episode 3, we have one triangle and one square.
Yeah, so we've talked about Tyler and Ashley. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
Tim and Alex
Mm-hmm.
and Taylor and Garrett. Let me get them off. So, do you want to talk Stephen and Monica before we get into the more
Oh yes,
complex
yes.
relationships?
I don't have
Okay.
anything really about Stephen and Monica
Yeah, I
except
think we
for
covered
him
it.
being, I wrote their cue. I laughed when he came out as black. Um,
Came out as black.
I mean, that's what it felt like to me.
Uh,
They just seem like cute. Like
yeah,
I just keep writing that they seem cute. Do
yeah,
you think they're gonna
yeah.
make it?
Okay.
Oh wait, no, we're not doing predictions yet. Sorry.
Um, so
Let's do the
Bodan,
triangle first. Yeah.
yeah, Bodan, Marissa, and Ramses.
I
What are your
I
thoughts?
am a well-known anti-polyamorous. Let me say this. And not because I believe anybody's being greedy. I'm bisexual, so don't get that in your head, audience. But I believe that most people do not have like the actual communication and problem solving and conflict management skills to actually
Do
be
you
in
think this is
polyamorous.
a real thing? Are we really gonna pretend like
No, no,
they're?
no, no. Wait, wait. I'm saying a whole bunch of things to say one thing.
Okay.
Never in the history of this show has this ever occurred to me that there might be a throuple. But for some reason, when
Yeah,
Marissa brought it up, I was like, wait a minute. Could we have a throuple? I don't think them specifically, no. But
yeah.
I like it never occurred to me
If they
before
did, it wouldn't be
ever.
on the show. Like if they did, they'd go home and do that in their free time for sure.
Yes, but
Netflix is not letting that slide.
I was
Well,
like, wait
Netflix
a
might let it
minute.
slide, but take two. What are these people called? Whoever the production company is, they're not letting it slide.
No, probably not. But I like
Um,
it literally occurred to me that like, wait a second,
yeah, they
we
all
could
seem like they'd be
be.
down. Like each of them seem like they have the energy for that. Like,
They do, yes.
Bowden is almost as much in love with Ramses as Marissa is. So,
I think Bonin
and
is as
like,
much in love with Ramses as Marissa.
and I think Ramsey's like whole energy of just like I just go with the flow. I don't believe in traditional gender. Blah, blah, blah,
Hmm,
blah.
hmm.
And the two, I'll be honest, mostly it's the two dreads hanging from the side and the gold rings, but that's what's carrying the fluidity for me on
Yes,
him.
that is what's
Um,
carrying fluidity.
what do we think about them? So Bowden goes to the first time I saw them, because I fell asleep during episode 1. Ain't gonna lie. So I think they were towards the
But
back end of episode 1. I fell
yeah.
asleep and I had to just like turn it off and take a nap, and then I came back in episode 2. I didn't even go back and watch episode 1, so I didn't meet them all until episode 2. I didn't know they were like a thing until episode 2. Um, so my introduction with Bowden was him telling that long, boring ass camel story, and then being like, and then relating it to why he went to the Ukraine to help his people out. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
I
But he
can
was like, he was like, I have a story. And then when she was like, I don't think I can follow that up, I was like, the camel story? No, I think you could top it
I
actually.
I just my impression in that moment in time was that we were supposed to be telling like a fun party story, and I was like
Yeah, that was a fun
getting
party story that
I
he
was
segued into war.
that's why I was like, I don't know if this is a fun party story, King.
It
You
wasn't.
almost got assassinated by a camel
It wasn't fun
while doing
because I thought it was
imperialistic deeds.
like it would have been fun if the camel spit on him. But he was
That's what
like,
when he said something hit him in the back of the head, I was like, oh, okay, the camel spit on him. And then he was like, and then I almost got trampled. I was like, this is not a fun party story,
yeah,
babe.
I was like, what? Like it?
This is
Okay.
almost dying in the desert doing American imperialistic disastrous
Yes,
things.
yes, yes, yes.
Like,
Almost dying while you're trying to steal oil. Like
I was
that's
like,
not a great
babe,
way to go out, my brother. Like,
no, this is not it. But it was also such a Washington D.C. ass story to tell. Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, everybody in the
But
anyway.
I did really like him here. Let me pull up his picture so I can.
I really like
I
him.
really did like him. He seemed really nice. Like he just like you said, Garrett seemed the most normal. I feel like he seemed the most normal, even down to the boring story. He's like 36 in tech sales.
In this moment in time, I feel like I'm realizing that Bowden might be the first man on the show that I ever could see myself with. Like
The
he seems,
first.
yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Not because I haven't loved any of the other men, I have quite frequently loved them, but because like Bowden just seems like I don't know how else to say this. I very often
A
don't feel
cool
like
guy. A cool guy. A
a
normal
cool
guy.
guy.
A normal
He
guy.
seems normal, but he seems like so many. My sister and I talk about this all the time watching previous seasons. That so often, like they seem like adults in a way that I'm not an adult. Like Brett and Tiffany, for example.
Hmm.
Like they seem like grown ups, even though they're like not actually that much older than me. But Bowden just seems like I know he's like 7 years older than me, but like he seems like a man that I like actually would like be like, oh,
He
like
also, I will say, he seems like somebody that like you would know. Like
that's it.
he
Thank
seems
you.
like people that like I've worked with, like, and like have done projects with, like partnered with or whatever in office or
Thank you.
whatever.
That's it. That's perfectly it.
So
Everybody else has always seemed like
yeah,
distant.
like there's an element to the casting of this show where like when these people are speaking, it's there's an air of performance, and they're
Mm-hmm.
super
Mm-hmm.
aware that they're being, like, they're on camera, like this is being viewed international, like da 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 da. And he just kind of seems like somebody that's out of real life. Like he's not putting on a personality, right? And this is why I skip the pots, because I often feel like people are putting on a level of like emotional performance to make themselves deeper than
Of
what they
course
are.
they are.
So
Yes.
like
That's
everything is like super like drawn out, and then like you go meet them in person and they're assholes. Like you're not an emotional person at all. Like you're not an emotionally
no.
intelligent person at all. Stop it.
It
But I like
especially
him.
especially the men. I'm
I think
gonna
she's in the toughest position to choose. I feel like everybody else's choices are pretty clear. I feel like she's the only one that has a hard decision, because
yes.
both of them seem really good, and both of them seem like a really good match for her. Are they they're the ones that were talking about reading fantasy and like
Yes.
being into all that stuff. Like they seem like they have a lot in common. And both of them just having like a military background, understanding each other on that level as well too.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think her spirit and her energy is probably a little bit more aligned with Ramsey's. Like she seems a little like
Interesting.
he seems a bit buttoned up to me. Like he seems like a very like corporate guy. And
Okay.
even though she's like studying to be a lawyer, she doesn't strike me. She seems like more like her energy seems more like free spirit, like bohemian chic, like roam the earth,
Mm,
like walk
mm.
around barefoot,
My
or
husband has two
yeah,
dreadlocks.
like wool socks and the Birkenstock, like that's that's what she gives me, and I feel like she aligns with Ramsey's on that. So I think she actually has a tough decision. I think he might be a better fit for her than Ramsey's. Um,
I think he's a better fit for her than Ramsey's too.
and I don't know why I think that, to be honest with you, but it was just it's. I think you can't like underestimate like how important like common interests are, and they're
Yeah.
like the type of people that like go to Comic-Con together or do like
Yes.
cosplay, Harry and Hermione or something like that. Like
Oh my God. I just have to say this. And even though to me, J.K. Rowling died in a fire, I, when Marissa was like, oh my God, like something Harry Potter, like, and I was like, girl, it's 2024. It's not that surprising that you've read Harry Potter.
Yeah,
That's
like, oh
perfectly
yeah, when
online
she
with
was
how
like,
old
"Have
you
you
are.
read Lord of the Rings?" and I was like, "Of course he has." Like, I'm not into fantasy, and I've picked up a little, I read 2 chapters, like,
I
like,
will never, but yes.
like, yeah, of course of course he
Yeah,
has. Like, I read like
yeah.
the first 4 Harry Potter books when by the time I was in the 5th grade. Like, this is not like
That's what I'm
niche
saying.
stuff.
Like
Like,
for the
but
age that
this
you
is
are,
such
girl, that's perfectly appropriate for you to have read all the Harry Potter
this is
books.
like such a how I feel about Harry Potter fans. This is like such a Harry Potter fans act like super fans act like they're the only
Oh,
ones that have ever like consumed Harry Potter content. I'm like I'm like, bro, my dad bought me like the DVDs, like
yeah.
in the box set, and it had
Hmm.
like the first 3 movies.
Yeah.
So Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secret, and Prisoner of Azkaban. And then
The
he
best
bought me
one.
like the box set for the next few movies. Like, and I used to like go and check it out from the library and read it all the time. I'm not a Harry Potter fan at like a super Harry Potter fan by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just like it was like pretty commonly recommended reading for us, like in my elementary and middle schools. Like when you
Yes,
went to
it
the
was
like you went to the library and the librarian was like, "Here, check this out. Kids your age are reading this."
it was perfectly age appropriate for how
Yeah,
old we are because that's exactly, I mean, maybe slightly because reading level wise technically, but for those of us with a really high reading level, it didn't matter.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what was I gonna, oh, I was gonna say something about them. I
Oh,
was
she
going,
had a red
oh,
flag for me, but I don't
ooh,
know. When she was like, I dated a Trump supporter for 3 years, and then I
thank
dated a super
you.
liberal guy for a couple years. Like, it's interesting how politics sort of came up in this season. Because I don't think we get a lot of that on the
No.
show. And we just kind of have to assume when people clearly are like not are not getting along because like their worldview aren't compatible. You just kind of have to
Mhm.
infer like, oh yeah, y'all probably like
Yeah.
don't have the same worldview.
With the exception
Um,
of MAGA Barbie, which
Sarah
is,
Ann,
yes, thank you, thank
the
you.
best that ever done it, the best that I'll ever do it.
Okay. Okay.
Sarah Ann is funny to me. Like I mean, she's a clown literally, but she's hilarious to me.
Can we wait about this triangle? I feel like well, I guess you haven't seen every season, so maybe that you, I
No,
wonder.
so the reason I brought that up, I was
Oh,
like, I think it's a red flag because I do think that like while Ramsey's performance of gender understanding is performative, I do think that like he's genuinely like on the left, like socially, right?
oh
And
yes,
I
no.
think that like if she's like apathetic about those sort of things, that could be a problem for them. And
Ooh,
I don't know what
interesting.
Bowden's like political leanings are, but I think he's probably like more apathetic as well too. Like I think he's
Yeah.
like you know what he gives me? He gives me a ton of like male coworkers that I've had in my work, in my career that are like you talk to them, you're like, oh, I can't pin it, but like they would probably describe themselves as like fiscally conservative, socially liberal,
Yes.
and really what that means is just like I'm gonna vote Republican, but I'm like apathetic about like politics in general.
Yes. Let me check my
Um,
desk.
yeah, and I think like she's apathetic, he's apathetic. They're not gonna be like clashing super hard
That's very interesting. I
on
think
certain
you're
things. And I
completely
think that
right.
like Ramses might be somebody that's like a purist. Like you got to care to care, like
Yes. No, I think you're
type of
completely
person.
right. I would also say that the Trump supporter thing bothered the hell out of me. And I know it is unfair for it to bother me more because she's a black woman than anything else. But God, that bothered me. But then I like remembered everything that I have, my friends who are in the military and everything that I've learned about that culture. I'm like, oh well, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. But
Yeah,
um oh, there was something about them. Oh, that's the last thing I was going to say about them was that I actually really enjoyed how open the three of them were to maybe Ramsey being the least open, to like talking about like the fact that Marissa's like seeing too.
yeah,
And like they were just like at least her and Bowden were like just like laughing and like talking about it. I was like, I feel like this is the first time we've ever seen just somebody be normal about this. Cause
yes.
like
I
in the
think
first, go ahead.
this is why the other sort of like thruple, quadruple bothers me more. But like here, it is refreshing to see people like genuinely understand the spirit of the quote unquote experiment and just go, you know
Thank
what? It
you.
is what it is. Do what you got to do. Let me
Especially in
know.
season
And either way you go,
seven.
it's a good choice. Like we're all great people. Like, you know,
That's the
we're going
thing.
to be friends after this. Like I'm going to go play PlayStation with Ramses after this. Like we're going to go touch grass and go foraging for mushrooms together.
And you know Ramsey has a wicker basket. I love him. But like this, you're completely right because this, it struck me for that very reason because it has always bothered me. Obviously, maybe not in the first two seasons, but like the later and later we get into the seasons when people act like they don't know the how the show works,
Yeah.
it bothers me. And that's a perfect segue into Leo
Okay. Yeah,
because
let's do it.
let's, can we just have a moment?
Leo, Leo, Leo.
Can we have and
The funny
now
thing is, I think that like Leo might not end up being a villain at the end of this, but God, is he annoying? Like he's gonna be one of those people that annoys me every time he comes on screen, but he's probably just like not a bad person. He's just dumb. Like he seems kind of like vapid. Like he also he
So
you know what
vapid.
he has to me? He has the syndrome that Clay has, which I haven't named yet. Which one of the reasons I disliked Clay is not even because of how he treated AD, because AD girl, you should have been smart. But like one of the reasons I really dislike Clay is just like Clay would just like spit word salad and like never say
Yes.
anything substantive. Like if he was just like using words to me, like it's like he had to hit a certain character limit in every scene, and he just be like,
This is not a phrase I'm making up, obviously. He's a mile wide and an inch deep.
yes,
Like
yes,
just
perfect.
yapping. Oh my God. I hate Leo,
And
bro.
for that reason, honestly, I think his best bet is Brittany. Brittany wants a rich man, and he's a rich man who wants his ego stroked. And she's like patient enough to sit there and listen to him ramble on about what was the phrase? Sakat, like uh being
Manja.
performatively unkempt. Like yeah, like she would love
As he
that.
was literally performatively unkempt.
Yeah.
I
Like
literally, oh, I
and
didn't.
I
Mariama.
remembered, God, I forgot the phrase, but I remembered it from my art history freshman year. But but
Mariama.
I was like, they deserve each other. Like they deserve
First
each
of all,
other.
I
And
thoroughly disagree with that.
really, why?
I do because I in the first two episodes I would have absolutely agreed with you, but the way he's absolutely tap
So
dancing on Britney's spirit right now, absolutely the fuck not. Get
so
her out of there.
Leo, 31, art dealer, very successful, very rich, but he doesn't want you to care about his money,
But
right?
he always talks about
Maddie,
it.
calm down. He doesn't want you to care about his money that he was very fortunate to be blessed with. I hated that phrasing
I
so much. Brittany,
can't stand
33,
him.
esthetician. She only dates athletes and rock stars. She's the trophy wife. She wants to be kept. And she's not trying to pay bills. The funny thing is, like, that brief little interaction where they had where he's like, yeah, you're like gonna have to like pay something so I know that you're invested. If she like the way she was like, oh, I'm what did she say? She didn't say man eater. She said I what did she call herself? She was like, I can seduce any guy like with my eyes or
Oh,
something like
yes.
that.
I don't, did she call herself something specific?
No,
I don't think she.
I think she did. But like I can't remember. I think that like if they met in person, he gonna pay them bills. Like
That's part.
if Brittany asked him like to pay her bills, he would pay her bills.
Brittany
Um,
deserves to be a trophy wife. I just think that the trophy wife example that she put forward in terms of what she wants, I don't believe to match what Leo wants from a
I
trophy wife.
I think Leo says a lot of nothing. I think Leo is a man who is pretending like he doesn't. Like it's very clear that he's pretending to be deeper than what he is and to be
Yes.
like more than what he is. I think Leo very much wants a woman who is in awe of his wealth. He very much wants a woman who is like fascinated by his wealth, but he knows that sounds crazy. So he's just like, "Oh no, I don't want somebody to like because what he's saying and like what he is saying is not aligning with the way he's behaving. Every opportunity he got to like bring up money, he brought it up. Like even so if you're somebody who like
The
really
choice of wearing the fucking Rolex.
if you're somebody who really doesn't want people to like think about your wealth, like I don't even care about him bringing it up in the pods because I thought like you don't have to bring it up here either. They can't see you because that was my first thought. I'm like, okay, if you're trying to make sure somebody loves you for you, just hey, I'm an art dealer. I do well for myself. I'm comfortable. Like we kind of know what that means, right? Or even like, hey, I'm an art dealer. My parents and grandparents were in the business. They built a business and I inherited it. I run my family business. That could mean anything. That could mean your family business is a small, you know what I'm saying, six figure, blah 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 with, you know,
Mm-hmm,
whatever
mm-hmm.
percentage profit and you take home 70K a year and that's what you do. But you love it and it's what your family did, or it could mean that you guys have a $1 billion empire. Nobody really knows. And when you say
Yes.
family business, they're probably going to assume the first and not the latter. It wasn't like so much as because when I thought it was weird that he brought it up in the pause and talked about like the wealth that he had and that he made it a point to talk about his upbringing and how much money he had in country clubs and this, that, and the third. Because then now we know the tax bracket you're talking about. But like
Yes.
when he was with the guys and just like brought it up randomly, like, oh yeah, we did really really well. I was like, no, you're not somebody who doesn't want to be like you want people to know you're rich and you want the sort of like social status that people will give to you by knowing that you're rich. You want
Mariama,
the ass kiss and you want the stuff because like
we've never been more locked
the
in.
Rolex is not a red flag. Like truth be told, I can afford a cheap Rolex. I can afford a brand new Rolex based on the model, based on the thing. I'm not like rich, right? And I'm certainly
Yes.
not as rich as he. I mean, I'm certainly not as well off as he is, right? That doesn't really mean anything. You could have
You got
saved.
Rolex?
Yeah, they're not that expensive. I've looked them up. I've looked them. I mean, they are expensive. I shouldn't say it, but like I've looked them up, and I've been
Girl,
like,
wait
I've
a
looked up
minute.
watches to buy, like nice gold watches to buy, and I'd be like, oh, like I can get a Rolex. Does it make financial sense for me to get a Rolex? No. Like also, like I wouldn't want a Rolex, but like you can have a Rolex because you saved for 8 months or whatever and got yourself a nice birthday present, right? Or you paid off your student
Okay.
loans, got a nice job, or made a big, like you're an art dealer, maybe you made one or two big sales or whatever, paid off your student loans, and now you had an extra $12,000 burning a hole in your pocket that you just wanted to
Oh,
do something with.
I'm
I mean
sorry.
that's like an average, like that's not, maybe his Rolex probably costs more. He has a green face. But I will say this. I will say this.
I did open Google and look
Stop
at
looking up
Rolexes.
Rolex prices.
I'm sorry. I needed to know.
I
Okay,
will
go ahead.
I will say this.
Hmm.
Leo very much wants the trophy wife. He just wants the trophy wife that's gonna feign care for him as a person, and not just his wallet. That's why he's leading with his wallet in every conversation he's having, and it's crazy because even after like the first like money conversation, he keeps talking about it. Like every time he talks to anybody, men, women, children, dogs, cats, he's like, I'm so blessed and fortunate to have the wealth that I have been blessed and fortunate to be blessed and fortunate with the wealth, that my grandparents and my parents
And
have built
by
the
the way, my
wealth,
whole
and
family died.
I'm so blessed and fortunate to be having the wealth of the blessed and the fortunate. It's like, sir.
The wealth of the blessed. I, Mirama, first of all, like I said earlier, we've never been more locked in because I hate this man. Every time I have not felt a visceral hatred toward a man on this show since Shake and Deep D. I hate this man. He is a mile wide and he's not even an inch deep. He's like 2 centimeters deep. He just says nothing at all, like you said. He says nothing at all ever. He leads with his wallet, like you said. He To me, it is so clear, and I think you were touching on this a little bit. So sorry to regurgitate your point. But to me, it is so clear that he thinks the only thing that is important about him is his money,
Yeah.
and that he just is afraid that somebody else is going to think that. And it is never more so proven to me by the choice of bringing the Rolex on Netflix. Like I know people for old money people, like it's just your watch, you're wearing it, right?
Yeah.
But to me, like maybe this is just being from Connecticut, but to me, that's actually like he's being very nouveau riche in the way that he's behaving. He's
Yeah.
actually not being old money about this at all
Yeah.
because old money people don't talk about being rich all of the friggin' time. They
Yeah.
don't talk about being rich all of the time, unless, of course, they're mentally unwell or they think this is the only thing that is important. Like when he was going on and on about that tennis analogy at the end of
I
episode
actually thought
three.
that was the most endearing thing he did. I was like, oh, but it was performative again. Like I feel like this is one of those things that, like, just like Garrett with not was it Garrett? No, Nick. Nick talking like the way he was flirting with all the girls. I was like,
Oh,
Nick
yes.
probably had a notebook like before when he knew he was casting for the show. He probably wrote a bunch of stuff that he wanted to like get off. He's like, this is how I'm
Yeah.
gonna hook him, and he was just throwing it out there to see who was gonna catch. I feel
Yeah.
like this was one of those things for Leo as well too. Like he probably wrote that tennis analogy down. This is what a marriage means to me. It's doubles, and there are not many sports like that. It was kind of nice.
Right.
I don't mind stuff like that. I feel
Like,
like
okay, we've all seen challengers.
it's like I don't I haven't,
That's
but I don't mind
a
stuff
lot of
like that
movie.
because it's authentic to you. You took something that you know a lot about, that's in your life, right? That you care a lot about, that you're passionate about, and related to the situation that you're currently in. Nothing wrong with that. I can't fault you on that. You wanna play doubles with your wife. Cool. That makes a lot of sense. I
I
think
don't want this
that
for
I
Brittany. I
think
do not
that
want this.
the longer that this triangle kept going on, I what I really hated about his handling of this is how every conversation that he had with Brittany, he made it a point to bring up the fact that he was undecided. And I think
Exactly.
and like the only reason I don't like this is that I don't think that he's genuinely trying to get to know either Brittany or Hannah. Like he's interested
No,
in talking a lot about himself, but I think more than anything he loves the attention of being able to, like, I think his goal is to string both of them along to the end and have them waiting
absolutely.
with bated breath for him to like choose one of them.
Absolutely.
And that's what's disgusting about it. It's like more than anything else, more than like the fake like humility that he's performing, more than like the canned speeches that he's giving in confessional. Like all of that stuff wouldn't bother me if he was like also performing well
Hmm.
the idea of trying to make a connection. It's the fact that like it is very clear that he is reveling in the fact that he has two women
Hmm. Hmm.
who are like hinging themselves to him, and especially
Absolutely.
Brittany, because I think he knows Hannah has another option, so he's not doing it as much with her. He's like really trying to like win
Until the
her.
end of episode 3.
Well, yeah, he's like really trying to win her, but like with Brittany specifically, he knows that like she knows if I don't choose her, she's going home. And for her, for all of these people, um, losing on this show is just not making it out of the pods in a relationship. Like they don't care if they make
Yes.
it to the altar. Like winning is getting out of the pods and being like on the show proper,
Yeah.
on the real like 8 episode arc of like the season.
Yes.
So that's what's like disgusting about it to me. There like in episode 2 and 3, he has 2 dates in each episode, I think, with Brittany. And like when they're
Mm.
talking, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, like I'm just not sure," and she's like, he makes a point to tell her, "Oh, you're like today, if you'd ask me, um, you're number two, but after our date right now, you're tied for first place." And she was like, "What?"
Tied. That's what I'm
And I
saying.
was like, if that's how you really feel, why would you state that? Other than to just like it seems like negging. Like it seems like a tactic at that point.
Thank you. I was trying to remember that freaking word. It is absolutely negging. And it's the reason why I don't want this for Brittany at all. Like I want Brittany to be a trophy wife. I think she deserves to be a trophy wife. First of all, I think anybody deserves to be a trophy spouse if they want to be. But this is not, he is not actually what she wants from that experience, because her most of her trophy wifing job would actually be like taking care of his very fragile ego at all
Yeah.
points. And that I don't think is what she has told us
I
that
mean,
she
that's the
wants.
game. Like I understand being like, oh, she has like the agency or whatever to have the life that she wants, but like that's the sacrifice. Like you're not a real person. Like when you're a trophy wife doesn't mean like
Yeah,
soft life core like the girlies are doing on TikTok. It means you're not a person. Like you're an object that's here for your beauty, and the second your beauty fades, you're no longer value. Your value is entirely in your beauty, and in exchange, you get a life of ease and wealth and comfort.
see, but don't you
Um,
find that to be contradictory then?
what?
Like that she herself is being contradictory?
Yes, that's why I
Okay.
don't feel bad for
Okay.
her. That's literally why I
Okay.
started by being
No,
like, they deserve each other. I think she's like the
I don't
entire
want that
time I
for
was
her.
watching them, like I like Brittany or I want to like Brittany, but there's just like something about her because I do think she is, and I don't understand. I think she is a woman who's like who I don't want to like judge her because I really don't have an issue with her being like, I don't want to work. I just want to like sit at home, be pretty, go to the spa, maybe pop out a few babies, and get a
Yes,
nice
it's
little
fine.
severance package and alimony when this dude drops me. Like I think those are all valid things to want. So
Absolutely, they
I don't
are.
think that's like bad. So I don't want to sound judgy when I say this, but I think she's being like kind of I think she's being kind of dumb to think that like what that doesn't mean that like you're not a human being. You're not a person with thoughts and
I
feelings.
see
Like
what you mean.
your
Yes,
life and
yes.
your world will depend upon the man who's financing your. That's the trade-off. You trade
Yeah.
your humanity for a life of ease and comfort, and you
She
know
wants
that, and
to
even that life that you're going to get is tenuous, because when your beauty fades, that life is over for you as you know it, right?
yeah,
Like, you might get a nice
yeah,
alimony settlement, you might get some child support out of it, and then you might be able to parlay that opportunity into another rich husband, right? From that, because that's usually what these ladies do. No tea, no
hmm
shade, is like you get a
yeah.
guy who's really wealthy, you meet all of his wealthy friends, you start networking in that world, he drops you when he gets over you, and then you pick up another one. Like, Tiger Woods' first wife
Absolutely.
used to be a mistress to another like professional PGA golfer. Like, that's how you
I
get down.
and no, that is absolutely how these things actually crack out in real life. And it's part of the reason why like I don't want Leo for her though, is because I feel like she's not to, not to infantilize her or anything, but I feel like she's like almost there and realizing that maybe she wants something maybe a little bit different than
I don't
what
think she
she
does.
think. I think so. I think
I
that
think
what
I think everybody does this, and doesn't mean they want anything different. People want
I
the
think she
the
wants to be in a billionaire romance novel, which means nothing to you, but
I
means
get what you're
everything
saying,
to
but
yes.
I think people oftentimes communicate their wants in a way, but like, where when they're imagining the thing that they want, they're not considering all of the downsides, or they're considering the downsides to be
Agreed.
more minor than what they can, like, so like you'll
Agreed.
hear, for example, just to take it off of women, you'll hear, for example, these men, these red pillars or whatever they are, be like, I want a traditional life. I want a traditional wife who stays at home and cleans and cooks and takes care of the kids and works 45, 50 hours a week and comes in and helps me pay half of the mortgage and never complains. And when we divorce, won't take half of my money, which there's also her, like, those are her assets because she's been paying the mortgage, right? Like, that's not a traditional, like, that's
And
not,
all you do is manage
yeah.
manage a Wendy's.
Yeah, like
That's
that. Yeah, like, exactly. It's like, oh, I want a traditional wife, but I don't want a woman that's gonna ask me for money. I don't want to.
mm-hmm.
I don't want a woman
Mm-hmm.
that. I want a woman that's gonna go out and earn, and then who's smart and capable enough of being able to earn, but doesn't like actually compete with
Absolutely.
me intellectually and make and is smart in a way that I never have to recognize her intelligence as, like, right, and performs like
To the
that
audience, I'm rolling
docility
my eyes.
and vapidness that makes me feel like a real man, right? Like, when you, at that point, if she's footing half the bill, you're not actually a patriarch, you're just cosplaying one, right? Like,
Yes, and this is not to get too into the wigs, the women's gender and sexuality studies weeds of it all, but like this is what is wrong with passport bros, right?
I
Like
want to table this
they
because I want to move on, because we do have a long filming day. But like, this isn't a this isn't a podcast where we where we
we were
argue
about to
the
like
legitimacy.
dive
I
head
know
first
we were about to get off the deep
into
end.
feminist
We're gonna take us
policy.
offline. That might be a Patreon episode.
If you want to hear us get into the weeds as we normally do in our everyday friendship, into the women's gender and sexuality and feminist racial studies of it all, we will be starting a Patreon, and that's where you can hear that.
I want to like her. I think I will like Brittany, if she couples with Leo, because I think he's so unlikable that she's gonna make out
I
like
hate
a saint.
him.
She's gonna have the best edit ever because he's just so crazy.
I will say that I
Um,
do believe that once she identified as being a trophy wife, I think they have been editing her kind of flat on
yeah,
purpose, and that kind of does bother me. I'm not gonna lie,
yeah. I think
but
part of
for
it is
reasons
the
that we will
voice
talk about on
too. I
Patreon.
think they're not taking her seriously also because of her voice, which just kind of sucks.
Yes.
Um,
Again, more things that we will talk about on Patreon.
yes.
Yes.
So, I let's
Can
talk
I say
about the.
something though?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because it's in my episode 3 notes and it's like right above me saying how much I hate Leo. Um, because we gotta talk about the Hannah side of things a little bit. But I it's I've said this phrase 1,000 times today on this episode, but it struck me again watching this like in a more like active way for the pod that this show is the entire premise of the show has become maybe semi unintentionally because they also don't
Oh,
hire
I know
ugly
what you're going to talk
people.
about. I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to take some time to talk about this at the end, about them talking about their physical appearances, right?
Oh, maybe
Oh, sorry.
I don't think we might not be on the same page.
Go off
I
my bad.
what what struck me watching it critically for the pod, instead of just like yapping as I usually do, was that the entire premise of this show to me is really based on just I don't know how else to say this, getting men to be normal. Like,
Explain.
like, so I'm thinking of how men writ large like to be like, we're so visual, we're visual creatures, like this is the first thing that we notice about you, blah 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 blah. First of all, anybody with eyes is a visual creature, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
um but that really this show is really just stopping men from making a knee-jerk decision based on the way that somebody looks and forcing them to just talk to women like
Okay,
people.
so we're having somewhat of the same conversation. I think the show fails at that frequently, more often than not.
Oh, I
Um,
don't think it's successful, but I think that that is kind of
yeah, and I don't think that's their intention at
sociologically
all.
what it
I don't. I
means.
actually.
No.
I don't think that's their intention. I don't think their intention at all is to get men to be normal. I don't think that's their mission. I
Oh no, because they don't hire ugly people.
Yeah,
Or yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to say. But I do think that what I wanted to
Ugly
talk
people.
about is the format of the show. I think it needs to change, but I want to table that for after we finish discussing this last couple and before we make our predictions. That's
Who's
okay.
our last couple? Hannah and Nick D?
Well, I want to talk about the Hannah and Nick side, just like kind of their connection, and then tie it all into this little nasty foursome, this devil's foursome that's going on here today.
Leo, you are the devil in this situation. Leave these people
Oh,
alone.
100%. Hannah and Nick D. I like Hannah. Like she seems like one of the more likable people here. She reminds me of a college roommate that I used to have that I actually did fall out with because she was a little racist, but just like blonde little country girl having a good time. Um, but Hannah seems
Who are
kind
we
of
talking about? Cut. Cut.
Hannah seems like really fun. Maybe it's just because she's one of the younger people on here, and it's a lot older cast. So people are really
Yeah,
like,
she just seems like a normal 26-year-old
yeah,
girl.
people are like, I mean, she seems like a young 26 if I'm being honest. Like I feel like
Really?
I was a lot less. She was 26 during filming. I think she's like 27 now. I felt maybe like me and the 26-year-olds I knew when I was 26 a few short years ago. And it was literally a few short years ago.
It was
Uh,
literally a few years ago,
but
yeah.
but yeah, I just like her. She seems like super fun. I do think that like I find it interesting how like Leo like clearly kind of seems to be leaning toward her throughout his figuring of things out.
Hmm.
But I
Which
don't
one
think
of the men points out to him?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think that like
Why do you think that
I don't
is?
think they would make it outside of the pods.
Oh, hell no. But why do you think that is that he's leaning?
I think like Brittany may have scared him off with the trophy wife thing because I don't think he like I think a trophy wife is what he wants and needs for the sort of like man as he sees himself as. But I think when
Hmm.
he hears a woman say, "Yeah, like the men that I've dated, they pay all my bills. Like I don't ever go in that wallet. Like the allowance hits the bank account every Wednesday morning." Like
Love her.
and
Love that for
like
her.
it's understood and it doesn't have to be explained. I think it like he's like, "Whoa, you have requirements of me I'm going to require you to play doubles tennis with me, but you
Yes.
want
Okay.
you want the
Absolutely.
funds cleared before you can you can get on this court and and that's
The
crazy.
funds
And
cleared before you can get on the court is insane.
I think he thinks Hannah is um more low maintenance. Um
Yes, I agree.
and I think he thinks he has to do less work and less emotional labor
What do you
with
think about the fact
Hannah.
that he
Cuz
freaked out at the end of episode
that was
3?
weird, but we're not talking about them two now. I'm talking about Nick D. Nick D is his
Oh,
name.
sorry. Yes. Nick D,
Yeah,
yes.
but like I was just talking about Hannah. Like she seems fun. I like her so far quite a lot. Because to be truthful, I don't know much about the other women other than her and Taylor. Like I don't like really know too much of the other women's like hobbies and personalities. And like you haven't seen it. They've all just kind of been sitting in a pod going, yes, you just sound so. Oh my God, I can't wait to see you and
My
touch
God,
you.
you're right.
Like, oh yes, husband
I think that's
material.
part of the reason why I find the season to be boring so
Yeah,
far is
like we're
that the
not
women are flat.
we're not getting much from a lot of the contestants, but it's like at least with the men we're getting like pieces of story. Like we heard about Tyler's mom and him having to like navigate his emotions and now he feels safe. Like that was cute. Like we've heard about like Tim, we've heard about Nick, former football player, et cetera, et cetera. Like we know a lot about the
Yeah.
men, but we don't really know a lot of things about these women other than their age and their jobs. Really, and the
Mm-hmm.
only ones that we've really like gotten a bit of their personality is like Marissa too. I would throw in there, but like, what do we know about Monica? Like background information. She's 30 something.
Oh
She's
dear
Honduran, and
God.
we know her job. Same thing with Alex and Ashley. Like we really just know their age, their jobs, and then like background information.
Oh dear
And
God.
Hannah's the only woman that we're getting clips of her like in the pods, like talking with the other women. Like she's getting those like funny little edits. Like there's a point where Leo I think says, "Oh yeah, she's like so smart," and they show her like talking about getting stung on her vagine. And there's a
Oh,
clip.
that's news to
Isn't
me.
yeah? Isn't there like a clip of her being like, "Oh, I'm scared of like something stinging me on my vagine," or etc. Or and then
Oh yes.
there's like a clip of her just like randomly burping as well too. Somebody is like saying something about her, and then it just cuts to her in the women's quarter just like burping like loud as hell. So she seems like funny, like
Yeah.
she's having like those little bit of moments, and that's I mean we know her a little bit more. Nick D, Nick isn't Nick D like am I making that up?
No, it's Nikki D. Yes.
Okay.
Because that's what Hannah
Oh
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
Hannah
yeah,
calls
yeah.
him.
Because I think yes. Former football player, former kicker. God, I knew what I looked up what university he went
He
to
says
too, and I
kicker
forgot
and
it.
punter, does he not?
Yes, kicker and punter.
Why is that? That's a football thing, isn't it? That
Yeah, a punt is different than the kick. The kick
well,
is like
yes,
the
but
field
like, can
goal.
you is that one? Is that not one job?
No.
You can have a kicker and a punter, like two
Mhm.
separate people.
They
Oh, okay.
typically do, but he does both.
Oh, okay. That's what confused me.
A
Okay,
man of
continue.
many talents. Also, I
Yeah.
want to say Nick has some kicks on him. You know, I'm also a reformed sneakerhead, so I don't waste my
Yeah,
money
cheers.
anymore on shoes. But I was peeping the heat. He had heat. He had heat on them feet. He had heat
I
on
did
feet.
write that in the first episode. I did clock his little bit of a black scent.
Oh, so
Um,
I wanted to say this when Nick was like talking before he even mentioned I forgot what he was saying like when he's first because I think they first show him talking to Katie the girl who works for the Ravens
yes.
as it were and we don't really see much of her after episode 1 when he was talking to her at first I was like Nick got black friends like Nick be around black people
Yeah, that's fair.
and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I was like a collegiate kicker, and then like a professional like in the XFL." And I was like,
Yeah. That's
"Oh."
exactly the same reaction I had. I was like,
I
"Oh,
was like,
you
"You
be with
were,
black people."
yeah, you be around, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I
you
see
be around black people.
it, I
Absolutely.
see it, I hear it. I heard the same thing with Cameron too. I was like, and then they when his best friend came on, it was a, it was a whole black stud. I was like, yeah, we knew that. Game recognized game.
It brings me so much joy, actually. I love it so much.
But like, yeah, I did clock that. I was like, yo, he's like his swagger. I hate to use the word swagger when I'm talking about about this, but like his
Yeah.
personality seemed like he had a
My
flavor with
children would
him.
say aura.
We're not gonna do that. He had a flavor. Flavor is what I'll say. He had a
Flavor's a good
flavor.
one.
He had a flavor about him that I was like, you spent time with black folk,
Yes,
largely probably black men. Um,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, so I thought I think their relationship is cute. What I will say, Nick, I don't think things are gonna end good for Nick. I don't think things are gonna end good for Nick. And I'm gonna say this: don't ever let nobody tell you they don't want you twice. Hannah dumped you. She shouldn't get a call
I knew
back.
you were gonna say
I don't
that.
care what made her make the decision and da 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 da. I know it's worked out in Love Is Blind past before where somebody got dropped and then they came
Blix
back
and
and made it
Zach.
happen. That's the exception. That's not the rule. Don't ever
That's
let nobody
fair.
tell you 2 times that they don't want you. Go home. You were packed up, ready to leave, and the girl said, "Let's go on a date." And then you stayed and went on a date with her that evening, and now you're still in the fucking, you're still in the love square with her. She couldn't even make it official after that. Go home.
That's completely fair. That's completely fair. I think this leads I'm so distressed by the way that Leo is like manipulating Hannah at the end of episode 3. I don't think he's doing it on
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing it maliciously, but he's
No, I
just
think he
like
is. It's horrible. It's
I don't
terrible.
know
And
how to
then
explain it.
what's most terrible is that I think she's like like questioning. Like
Yes.
I'm not one of those people. Like
Oh my
when the
God,
decision is
tell me.
made, the decision is made. It might be the wrong decision. You live with the consequences. You move on. Like her, like being like, oh, but he told me he loved me. But like, oh my God, we just shared. Like, why would you do that? And he's like, the way I don't think he wants her. Like,
No, I don't think he wants her
I
or
don't think he
Brittany.
wants her. I think he loves the idea of being like desired by
Absolutely.
multiple women, and thinking that like they're just like sitting around waiting for the moment that they get to go on a date with him, and he can't like. I
Absolutely.
think his ego is like incredibly hurt that like she might be moving on because like she's not engaged or anything like that yet, but like
And
the
I think
idea that
she,
like she
go ahead.
might be moving on is like too much for him to handle, and that's embarrassing for him,
I
honestly.
think that he also, because he knows at this point in time that it's Nick D. And
Yeah.
so I think he thinks he's better than Nick D.
Yeah, I don't know why he would think that because Nick is fly.
Nick is
Nick is
wonderful.
fly, and Nick got a little mouthpiece on him. He can talk a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, and he just seems like a regular human being. But
yeah.
God, once again, I say to the
He got a
people in
funny
the
little
back,
head.
I hate this.
Leo
I'm
does.
ignoring that.
Leo does.
I hate Leo. I hate
Somebody
Leo
else
so
had a
much.
funny little head. I think it was either Garrett or I think it was Garrett. His head just looked way too small for his shoulders.
I think it
Like
was
I don't know.
Garrett.
There was like a point where he was sitting and his shoulders were like bulging, and his like little head was like just like barely balancing on top of them. I was like, oh.
Fester. I just I hope, granted, obviously the answers are literally on Netflix right now. I hope above all things that Hannah and Brittany say no to Leo and Leo goes home. And unfortunately Brittany goes home
Yeah,
and
I think that's best.
um I think that's best. And then I don't let nobody tell you they don't want you twice is true. I
He's
can't
got this
I'm
ugly ass cardigan on with that nasty Rolex. Oh, Oh my God, the drip is so atrocious, Leo. Like, what
because
is this?
he's trying to be spaghetti. He's trying to be he's trying to be effortlessly
Oh my God.
spaghetti.
Yeah, there's like one button unbuttoned, the bottom button unbuttoned on the cardigan. The cardigan has a lapel for some reason. This is
God,
not a.
he's so Miriam,
Oh,
I have not hated a man on this show as much as I have hated Leo since
uh,
Shake. Since Shake was awful to Deep T. Awful
uh.
to my queen Deep T. My baby,
Absolutely
my angel.
atrocious drip. How you let quantum physicist Garrett outdress you? Garrett looked like he about to go cut down logs. David looked.
Oh, yeah. Right. Okay, Daddy
Bowden looks
G.
good. He got the suit on with the green shirt, like oh my god, dark green shirt, gray suit, brown belt, brown shoes. He put it on. The hair is swooped just perfectly. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He put it on.
Bowden. I don't know what's going on. I
Jason, I
don't
don't
know if
think we
you
met
we get
Jason.
on the
Jason looks
pod.
cute. Jason
Did
looks
I
like
ever tell you that I
the
hopped in
project
the
manager.
DMs of a man on
Let's
from
not
Love Is
talk about
Blind?
from Love Is Blind. I thought you were talking about like your real life. I was like, no, you don't want to share that.
No, there was a there was a I don't even remember his
Oh,
name, but
oh.
he
So he
was in
didn't
the
even make
back.
the show.
No, he did
You
not. He
can't
was in the
even pick one
background.
that had a little bit of clout. That's crazy.
He was in the background of one of the seasons, and I just remember being like, I am in love with this man. And so I did hop into his DMs on Instagram.
That's nasty work. That's nasty work.
In
Oh
my
my.
I was in my I can have whoever I want era, which is
Em-
still true, but
Embarrassing.
it
No,
was
you should be
embarrassing.
ashamed. Let's bring back shame. I would have
I,
never shared that.
I don't mind. I love myself so much. Okay. Are we done talking
Yeah,
about
I well, yes, we're done. Let's do predictions. So
okay.
let's start with the love square. What do you think is coming out of that?
What do
I
I
think.
think or what do I hope?
What do you think? It's a prediction.
I think that uh, I think Hannah is gonna freak out. She's gonna go back to Nikki D. She's gonna be like, Leo's telling me all of these things, blah 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 blah. I think Nikki is gonna be like, well, what are you gonna pick? And Hannah's gonna be like, I don't know. And she's gonna drag it out with Nick D. He's gonna get tired of it. He's gonna be like, well, girl, if you can't choose me, never mind. And then she's gonna go back to Leo, who and be like, Nick left, like I'm all in it for you, because I feel like this has happened before. And then Leo is it happened with Jessica. I think it's gonna crack out the way that it did with Jessica last season, and Megan Fox's duplicate.
Chelsea.
Chelsea, yes. Where she's gonna be like, I'm all in it for you, and then he's gonna come back and be like, just kidding, I'm picking Brittany. Because that's exactly what Jimmy did with Chelsea and Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica was like, I'm
I'm gonna
all
be
in it.
wishful. I'm gonna predict Hannah, Nikki D, and I'm gonna predict no Brittany nor no Leah. I don't think they make it out the
Oh
pods.
my God, I hope not. Brittany, please don't do this to
I don't
me.
think they make it out the pods. Leo is not being shown like likable enough.
He's so awful, Jesus.
Like the I think the edit is actually like taking opportunities to like dunk on him. Like they didn't have to put that many clips in there of him talking about his money and the exact same phrasing. That was like I know some
They did
nefarious
that on
editing when
purpose.
I see it. Like they were clowning him. They were making fun of him. They're like,
Yeah.
um yeah, this is not going to end bad for you. We're going to make you as annoying as possible to the audience. We're going to show just how much of a douche you are. And then when you get dropped by both of these girls, they will rejoice and we will laugh. And it's going to be like our thing.
God,
That's
I
wishful
hope
thinking.
so.
Um,
Who's next?
okay. So
Who's next?
that's done. Taylor and Garrett. I hope they make it.
I hope they make it. I hope they're like Johnny
The world
and
deserves them as a couple.
yes. I hope
We
they're
need
like
them.
uh Johnny and oh my God, not again.
Amy.
Amy. I hope yeah.
I hope they are Barnett and Amber. Like, yeah.
Ooh.
I think that's good upside. Like, a little bit of bumps in a row, like, cause Barnett and Amber were exciting. Like Johnny and Amy were boring, but that's not their fault. And you and I talked about this. That's on the edit.
That's
The edit should have took
the
better
edit.
time to like show us why they were getting together and like make their relationship something worth rooting for because they
And
really
also
had
they
to
did not
go.
actually have any problems.
Yes, like they were the only couple that had like a relationship that lasted that whole season. The season should
Yeah.
have been about them. Like even if they were like supporting cast, they should have been like in a prominent second place role and not like
Absolutely.
left to the wayside. But I hope they're Amber and Barnett. Like I think they will have some conflict because I do think that like their meet and seemed a little awkward in a way that like I think like they're gonna be slow because I can't imagine that the way they were chatting it up in the pods, like to just meet each other and then just be silent and just start weirdly
But
touching and
that
kissing up on each
happened
other.
last season, remember, with the man who went silent?
Yeah, with Kenneth and Brittany because he didn't like her, and I told you that from the
Mm-hmm.
time they met. I was like, I don't think he liked her. Like she's not
Mm-hmm.
what he was picturing, and he's starting to like reconsider that decision. And I don't really think she liked them too. They gave legitimate friends vibe. These people, Garrett and Taylor seem like they might not be
Oh no, we're
into
not
each
talking
other.
about the same people. Where you're talking about the religious couple, my Christian mingle people.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the couple that doesn't make it out of the vacation.
last season.
I think it's last season or the season
What did
before.
they do?
It was a blonde white woman and the man who was always wearing some sort of
The
um
Hawaiian shirt?
flag print. No,
No.
Hawaiian shirt was the evil man.
JP and yeah, whatever. I didn't watch that season. How I know the
Okay.
people name better than you and I don't even be watching all the seasons.
You
Like,
are always better at this than me.
um,
But JP and whatever her name was, they don't even make it out of the Dominican Republic, I think,
yeah,
because like they don't like each other. And then there's also the example of Zach and um
the one he dropped.
Irina,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. No, I do hope they have a little bit of conflict, just a little bit of, but they resolve it like quickly,
Mhm.
and then they have a long um marriage.
If anybody I want to be Amber and Barnett, I want it to be rolling into another prediction. I want it to be Bowden and Marissa.
Yes.
I'm
I hope
sorry,
she I'm
Ramsey.
yeah, I'm gonna go in on Bowden. I was conflicted about which one of them, but I do think that like I think she should pick Bowden. I don't know if
I
that's
think she should pick
I don't
Bowden.
know if she will though. I
I
I feel
don't
like the
know.
way like her and Ramsey's been was talking to each other in the last like couple of conversations I saw about them, the way he keeps speaking Spanish to her, like she was eating that up.
She was eating it up, but I
She was
like
chewing down on
Bowden.
that.
I like
Um
Bowden.
yeah, I hope she picks Bowden. That's nasty. Tim and Alex, I don't think she gonna like him. She gonna see that receding hairline. She gonna see that lion tattoo,
Please.
and
How dare you do
yeah,
Tim like
I
this?
think she's gonna be out on him almost immediately. Like I feel like at the reveal she's gonna be looking at him like, oh, really?
I just for that, I hope she jumps on him. I hope she's like,
She
this is
might
the
she
hottest
might
man I've
she
ever
might jump on
seen.
him at the reveal, but I feel like night one of that honeymoon, it like I think like now that like like they've shared all that they've shared, I think they'll
Mhm.
get there and like try to have like small talk and realize like, oh yeah, like we're just not compatible. And
Okay, fair
also
enough.
he
Ooh.
seems like unnecessarily combative. Like him, like I think is a big red flag that he's like, my ex-girlfriend told me not to buy this shirt, so I bought it. And not only did I buy
Oh
it
yes.
to like spite her, I'm wearing it on national television as I look for my wife. That's weird behavior. Like
Unnecessary
even if that's
behavior.
true, don't share the story and don't laugh about it. Like he was giggling hard. Like yeah, he seems like,
Oh
and men
God,
who are
heavens.
combative are like it's
No,
no woman likes that.
no, no.
Right. Steven and Monica, do they end up together? I feel like they're not. I feel like we're just seeing them just to see them. I feel like they end up.
I think we're seeing them just to see them, but I do think that they're both very into each other. I just don't know if it's
If
gonna
they end
like
up together, I feel like it's gonna be a no. I feel like the only yes we have here is Tyler and Ashley, which is my last prediction. Oh,
my they
Taylor and Garrett. I'm gonna say no right now. Let me see after the next batch of
no to
episodes.
making it out of the
No to engagement. No to decision day. That's not what they call it here. What do they call it?
wedding day. No, they call decision day, don't they?
That's married at first sight.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's news to me.
the wedding. The
Um,
wedding.
no at the altar, whatever it is. Yes.
The altar. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they. Yeah, no at the altar. But I think Tyler and Ashley are locked for a yes at the
I
altar.
don't have any altar predictions. I can only do altar predictions after I've seen everybody get engaged.
That's okay. That's true.
Yes,
Okay.
because how they see each other, my favorite part, the reveal, to me indicates a lot about how things are gonna go. So as of
Oh,
right now, we only have Tyler and
Ashley.
Alec, Ash. God damn it. Tyler
That's
and
my
Ash.
prediction. That doesn't have to be your prediction.
No, Tyler and Ashley and Garrett and Taylor have seen each other. Who else has seen
Yes,
each
correct.
other? Nobody else has seen each other.
Nobody else has been engaged.
Okay, then yes. Okay, then I'm on the same
I
page.
think we might get because they have to be on the honeymoon by episode 5. So
Yeah,
I think in episode 4 we're probably gonna get 2 engagements, and then we'll get one more engagement at the top of episode 5, and then they'll go on the
and
honeymoon
then we'll be on honeymoon
during
time.
episode
Yeah,
5, and episode 6 will be the honeymoon, and then
I
we're gonna
actually
start seeing
like.
the problems.
I actually
Especially
like
when they all
blocked.
meet each other, like that's when it always goes
Yeah,
down.
because the preview, the big
I didn't
overseeing.
watch any previews because I was like, you know what? I mean, let me just go in fresh. I'll watch the previews after.
I started watching the overarching preview at the very beginning of this season, and then like it actually got like there. I don't remember anybody's faces, thank God.
The
But I
previews
like,
always spoil something. I feel like
yeah, I
that's why I
actually
didn't
like
watch it.
did this at some point because I was like, you're telling me too many things.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So that's the episode. Hopefully we will drop episode 4 through 6 recap before the next batch of episodes drop on
When
Netflix
did the next batch of episodes come?
Wednesday.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
We're gonna do it in 2 days.
I'll try my
We're
best,
gonna do it in 2 days.
man.
We'll make it a short episode, but you have to have it watched in 2 days.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, take us out.
Thank you for watching slash listening to this episode of Reality Roundup. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, repost, share, send smoke signals to your neighbor about how much
Mhm.
you love this pod. As Mariama said, do that so that you can help two up and coming Black podcasters make it out of the ghetto. Thank you.
Facts. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.